I made GPT-5, Gemini 2.5, and Claude 4 compete to make this really complex mapping visualization as an animation of the actual troop movements in the World War II battle, the Battle of the Bulge. So the task and the prompt, I try to keep it level across all the different language models. I'm going to describe to you in this video how I got here, how I like each option. I'm going to show you all three of their outputs, and then I'm going to describe the challenges of working with each. So let's get started. So this right here is my favorite. So this is what Claude 4 made. This is a really unique way to build this. So I work with maps all the time. And what this is right here is not actually a map. What it did is it made SVG vectors in a single HTML file to portray with coordinates in the view of the screen a representation of a map. But what it didn't do is actually use mapping, SDKs, APIs, any sort of actual map like Google Earth or something that you would see out in the open. So the animation for this, I really wanted to show the troop movements and the front line and all of these recognizable places. I also asked it to have a legend, but the animation was crucial because we want to show what happened over time. So not only did I not provide the information for the actual battle, it looked that up and did that, but it also built this app. It's just all in one HTML file, guys. So I'm going to hit play and just show you this again. So one of the things I really like about this is you can hover and you can see what's going on. You have the legend to refer to. And this is the most accurate representation of the battle from a visual perspective that I saw out of all three options. Now, if you ever looked at battle maps, they are a little bit complex to understand exactly what is going on to them, but this seemed to do the best. Working with Claude was really easy. It was super simple to get up and off the ground. With this, it has a built-in code editor that pops up to the right-hand side that gives you previews. I did have a little bit of trouble getting it to initiate the actual map. For some reason, in these code editors, they don't like to respond to the use of maps. So in GPT-5, there's a place where I could build code in the sidebar. Same type of thing. So everything that does stuff like this, I think Minstrel has a feature like this as well for code building. They all have a little bit of trouble with that. I was particularly not impressed with Gemini's output that I'm going to show you right here. So this is Gemini's output. This is an actual mapping software, so I can zoom. This has a base map. This is actually the breakdown of everything. If I hit play on this, I'm going to show you there is a legend, and then there are these polygons that kind of show this concept of where the troops would be. But I was really unimpressed on how Gemini 2.5 Pro worked. I'm going to actually pull up that. Give me one. Okay, so right here. So this is Google AI Studio. Went in here, Gemini 2.5 Pro. This is the session. I tried and tried for probably 15-20 prompts to get it to actually make a map, just a map, and it would not create a functional map. That continued to be an issue. I continued to have to give it the same feedback over and over. I really thought that was very like low-level functionality. And then when it came to portraying the actual polygons, it was not really getting the idea that its polygons didn't look the way that it should. One thing I did do is I took screenshots of actual battle maps from this battle and then uploaded them to the language model so that it could see a visual representation through that image, interpret those pixels, and then actually try to make this application actually look like that and work like that. So that was the key thing that we were trying to achieve, and here I think is where the biggest miss was. So I was kind of surprised because I have had some good interactions with Gemini 2.5, but this session, maybe on this specific task, particularly challenged. This right here I'm going to show you is GPT-5, and this is my second favorite outcome here. I will hit reset on this and then hit play. The thing that I like the most about this, I think, is its animation, this movement of the actual troops, and it's zooming. So it actually has these zoom actions where it actually tells a story, it shows everything. Its polygons, however, were not as robust as Claude's. It did not portray things in with the symbology and the labeling on the map. It did not actually hit all of the chords in my mind that the Claude one did. The Claude one is much more focused on the concept of actually portraying this battle up close and personal. And one thing about this battle that's very specific that you have to remember is there's actually this bulge that happens. And according to the history of it, there's a complete encirclement of Bastogne by all these German forces, and the 101st Airborne is trapped in there. So there's this thing where the Germans push in, and then they're isolated. And this does show this very well, although you can't zoom. If I were to like widen the browser a little bit, which I can't do right now because I'm filming this, it will actually show you that bulge perfectly, and you can kind of see this yellow portion right there. It actually articulates where that bulge is, and you'll see it again here in this step where they actually go all the way over. Then you see the U.S. troops come in, so it portrays that story really well, where I felt like this other one didn't quite land on that in the same way. It does say that they're besieged. You can see that they're encircled. There's a circle around it, but it never really landed. And I could have pushed this farther, but what I did do with these sessions is I really went to a place where I felt like I was really pushing into a reasonable amount of prompts that I engaged with both models on. So the outcomes, I think, were different and interesting in a way. GPT-5 seems to have some really good ability to work with maps, but they all kind of struggle. They all kind of struggle with using open source, accessible web technologies, referencing those links correctly when they generate code. So they do tend to generate things that maybe need licenses, that are behind some sort of access control, that maybe even need a login, something like that. And that was one thing that really suffered with my experience with Gemini. And I was kind of shocked about because Google, one thing you would think about Google is that under the hood of Google, there's all this understanding of the web, and the idea that it would reference things that it can't access. And like one thing you'll even see right here is it tries to reference a token, a hash. It tries to reference a hash in with the source to this leaflet, this unpackaged.com leaflet JS script reference. So it's like trying to access a reference to embed leaflet, and then it's not doing it right. It's like, why? So that was one of the things that was definitely not. If I were to show you earlier versions in this entire process, which was really long, it probably would have been like a 50-minute video. It was super underwhelming to just see it fail time and time and time and time again. So overall, this is really cool. I'm really going to take the code for the top 2 best ones, and I'm going to push those out in GitHub. It may not be on the video when you first watch it, but it should be there later. But overall, thank you for watching this. If you have any questions, comments, likes, or anything like that, if you want to support the channel, there should be an Amazon link below. Go ahead and check that out, and I'll see you in the next video.